Ciao, sono Simone Bianchi e state ascoltando il podcast dei Marvel Card Collectors. Ciao a tutti.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ian Taylor, and you're listening to the Marvel Card Collectors podcast. With me, as always, is my co-pilot in all things Marvel cards. He's the reason I write these intros. He's the reason I get up every morning. I didn't write this in advance, so I'm making this up as I go along. It's nowhere around. I was reading it and I realised I haven't written anything.
You haven't got anything there?
No,
I love it.
No. But the thing is, I have got what was there. I've copied and pasted it from an old one. And I've got the one that I used on the Flair episode. I wrote you the best intro ever on that Flair episode, and you can make it.
Oh man, I feel so bad because what just happened recently, I have an extra, because now I'm doing the grading thing. So now I have like extra surfers that I'm okay with letting go because I know the grade of one or the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have a buyback for one of the guys you had on who's making the buyback.
Dennis
Gold.
Yeah.
So I messaged him. So he said he does need it. So I'm waiting for him to see if he still wants to grab it when he does. I told him just to give me the price on it. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, like if he has comps on it, I don't give it. Yeah. I'm not gonna. You know,
Dennis is cool.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. I'm not gonna argue with that stuff.
Yeah.
So I offered it to him. Who was it? Keith mentioned it to me, and I was like, oh, that's right. So, but hopefully he picks it up. He can finish that collection. That's a tough set, man. Buybacks are tough sets to finish.
It's an insane set. I mean, the number of people that have finished. By the way, hello everybody. Welcome. Hope you've had a good week. We forget it's not just the two of us.
That's right.
No, we're in a crowded room, but we just can't see the people that are here.
We only notice each other.
They only notice each other. The number of people who have now. Well, I say the number of people. I still think it's on one hand. You could probably do it. Have done a full buyback set from Fleer Ultra X-Men 2018. You know, they did the buybacks from either the 94 or the 95 set. And
there's no way there's more than 5.
Well, we know one, obviously, Alan, Mr. Fuxham. But I'm pretty sure I've seen at least 2 other people commenting.
Oh, guess what happened with Alan?
Mr. Fuxham?
He got the Havoc sketch.
The one he was jonesing for. Wow. Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Our buddy reached out to us and he was like, okay, so I have it. I know he's looking for it. Do you want to reach out and see if he has it? So I emailed him and he's all ecstatic. So hopefully we get an update. So I'm happy he got it. That just happened like 2 or 3 days ago.
Good. Good. Yeah. So well, I don't know if Alan listens because Alan is furiously busy with the stuff that he gets
up to. He's crazy busy
in real world life, which I don't fully understand, but it's business.
Well, it's funny because like the guy who wanted to sell it was like, "Oh, I think Mr. Fuxham wanted this because I heard it on the podcast," and I was like, what a great thing to have. You know what I mean?
Because whoever it is that has it, I remember when the episode dropped, he posted it on group and said, sorry, not sorry, kind of thing.
Sorry, not sorry.
I thought, well, because Alan doesn't use social media at all, so he wouldn't have seen it. But I thought, how mean?
Yeah.
I'm just going to flex. You know,
I'm just going to flex. People enjoy their sketches.
They do.
The sketch community is an interesting one.
They do. So this is part 2 of last week's where we started on questions and we did the whole thing about NY New York Comic Con. Yeah. So at the top of this episode, we had Simone Bianchi.
Yeah, baby.
Because last week we had Peach Momoko. So the two people that at least 2 people that you met. You're probably thinking, what about the intro love for Eric Gist? Oh, guys.
Yeah, baby.
I'm very pronounce your name. Sorry, Eric. I know we keep butchering that, and it would take me no time at all to go back and actually listen to how you yourself pronounce it. And yet I've not done that, so I apologize. So you're probably thinking, well, you met him as well, so we need to do an intro for him. So we'll use his as soon as we can after episode 150, which will be next week as people listen to this.
Wow.
Giant-sized 150th episodes.
We're doing issues now. Hope everyone knows.
Yeah,
we changed it from episode. We messed up.
This will be issue now. Well, it's going to be issue from 150.
From 150. I'm
going to start doing it from 150. Yeah,
that's a good way to
start doing it from 150. So Simone, ciao, Simone. We love you. Ciao, Gloria. You're bellissimo. And last week, I also, because even though we've only just talked about it and we don't know if we can do it yet, I'm aiming to put the videos up of us talking onto our YouTube. So hopefully this one will be up there and people can see it. Because last week, and hopefully I'll put last week's up as well so that people can watch that as well. I opened I told you about the Amazing Spider-Man Panini.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, baby. You did not.
Should we open a couple? Let's open a couple.
Hell yeah.
Let's open a couple. So they come in these kind of very
Those
thin.
look great.
Yeah, they're very thin. And they're kind of wax paper. They're waxy paper, kind of like.
It's kind of like what the other ones were in, right? Like
the exactly the same.
And the Versus?
Exactly the same. Exactly the same. And they've got multiple designs of them, but you can't open them easily for toffee. I mean, you really can't. You have to.
Different Spider-Mans.
Yeah, there's about 7 or 8 of them. So the best way to do it, because it's very, very super easy, because it's very, very super easy to bend the card or the sticker. So you just kind of have to do this across the back. And I can already see the back of the card because the card is always at the back, you see. There's the corner of the card.
So Ian opened the flap on the middle.
Yeah, so you kind of tear it across the middle.
And then curled it back a little bit.
Yeah, and you've got enough to just...
pulling on a corner.
No, you got enough there to just rip it further so that you've now exposed the top end. So that's now clear. And then you just pull that down at the front and it just comes off straight away. So we're going to look at the sticker first. So there's a sticker. That cover.
Web of Spider-Man. Black suit.
Web of Spider-Man #1 sticker. Sticker number 66. And then we've got... So, yeah, that's 81. So you can see some of them are interior panels as well. So they're not all kind of front covers. The cards are all front covers.
Classic.
Then there's this one here, which is Spider-Man No More. That interior panel. That's John Romita Senior artwork. That's nice. Now, the one thing I will say is because everyone expects this to follow the same conventions as American cards, it doesn't mean there's a regular version of this and this is a foil parallel. It's just that this sticker is always foil. That's just some of the stickers are foil, some of them aren't. That's just the way it goes. And some of them have borders, So that's that one. Cool. And then this is sticker number 2. It's part of a 4-part thing. So it makes up a 4-part picture. So stickers 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Mary Jane in the background and Gwen Stacy.
Cool. I should check that background to make sure Black Cat's
smart.
Right, and this is the card. So as I said, the front covers are issues, front covers of issues, one for every year that the comic has been running from 62 to 2022. Yes, I can do math. So this is issue 1. So it's not issue 1 really. It's issue 16 or whatever Legacy is from 1999. So the backs are very plain. Cool. They don't really do much on the back. It doesn't tell you anything. The only thing that's different is that bit with the issue number and the year, and that bit with the thing. But it's cool. So
that is cool. I love that concept though a lot. Yeah, that's awesome.
And they're really nicely executed. They've kind of got a border around it, as you can see. They've put a border.
Does that make an image, that border, or is that the same?
Not at all. It's the same across the board. The confusing thing is on the back, there's kind of a spotted dotted line border, if you can see. But it's always at that angle. So it always looks miscut. Do you see what I mean? It's just the design of it. And there's one going down the side as well. And it is really strange because when you look at it, you think, surely that's
something happened.
But no, they're perfect. I mean, no issues.
Yeah, they look perfect. I mean, the centering on that's pretty clean too, from what I can see.
That's Panini for you. So, I've accidentally pressed something on my screen. Hang on. Let's get that. There we go. Right. Let's open another one of these. This is the joys of having a video format that we will probably upload.
You can
for those listening
of the pack opening.
For those listening on audio, sorry, not sorry. Hashtag sorry, not sorry. Right. Let's get this out. Right. What we got there? That's Craven
yelling in the rain.
There we go. That's such a good storyline.
That's great.
Such a good storyline, that is. That's Craven's. Cool. Is that Craven's Last Hunt? Yeah. No.
It looks like it.
Yeah. I think it is. Anyway, what we got there? Spider-Man Noir.
Noir.
Yeah. Now that's foil 7. Now some of them, they're numbered 1 to 162, but there is a subset of foils. There's 26 of them.
Oh,
foil
really?
7.
That's
and
nice.
I think in the center of the binder, there's just a little Spider-Verse thing. And that's what the foils go into. But the weird thing is they're called F7 on the back, but not all of them are foil, which is weird.
That's weird. But I love that.
Because that's not, well, it kind of is. It kind of is.
Though.
It's got a shine to it. It's got a kind of a shine.
Yeah, I see it. I can see a little shine to it.
Strange. It's just an interior panel one. Peter and MJ.
Nice.
And
oof, the Loto.
Yeah. So some of the artwork on them is brilliant. That's a foil one as well. F15.
Wow.
But you can, I don't know if you can see, but that's when you peel that off, you don't get the full sticker. It's kind of the
you got the circle. I was going to ask.
Yeah. So some of them aren't, full sticker things. And then there we go.
Heyo.
There's the card.
So
that's
cover,
issue 112 from 1972. Spidey Cops Out. Such a good cover.
Great cover.
I mean, they're all iconic covers. They're brilliant. So yeah, those cards, I'm really enjoying those. Right, 2 more packs, and then we'll get on to the questions that we didn't finish from last week.
That's right.
Which I'm really looking forward to getting back into. There's some good ones.
I like the questions. The questions are always really fun.
There's some good ones. That's because there's very, very intelligent, mature, responsible people who listen to our podcast and contribute in the group whenever we ask for questions, except for one. And he's Canadian.
You know who you are.
Yeah.
Perna.
I've just remembered what he's put. Oh, you're going to love it.
The best. I got to do a video chat with him.
There we go. So that's a F17, one of the foils.
That's cool.
There's really some good artwork in those. Good artwork in.
What kind of Spidey is that?
I have no idea. Where we go. Some of these are upside down. What's that? That's issue. That's sticker 121. That's just kind of a big rumble. That's the thing. Awesome. Being a character collector, you've got to very carefully study these. You've got to very carefully study these to make sure your character's not in there somewhere.
Always.
So I wouldn't be at all surprised if Black Cat was like somewhere.
Yep.
We've got here. And this is, that's a Daily Bugle. That's an internal kind of pin-up thing. The Day at the Daily Bugle. That's from kind of one of the early issues. Might be from one of the annuals, actually. A special Spidey pin-up. Yeah, they used to do those in the annuals. And then, so the last kind of 20 or 30 stickers, actually, when you stick them in, they stick in and they form part of a comic book story.
Yeah,
on the page. Cool. And I think that's one of the first ones of those. And then we have issue 546, Brand New Day. That's card 49 from 2008. It's brilliant. Now, can you imagine how good this would look in a CGC slab? Next to a CGC comic.
They look really cool. I love these cards, man. They're really
so cool. They're so good. Right, one more to go.
So nice.
One more to go.
You know, it's funny. I just, on the forums, on the CGC forums, I actually just put up a character collecting forum.
Oh, I saw you just posted that.
Yeah. So I just posted that. I don't know what compelled me to do that, but I thought it'd be kind of fun just to see people, to see how people collect and stuff like that. So our friend, I think we know him, the guy who collects Punisher hardcore.
Oh, Chris, can't remember his surname.
Forget his last name. He was on there, Submariner, and I forgot who else was on there. I just saw, but.
So we have here, that's a sticker 123, but it's a comic cover sticker. Into the Earth, which is somewhere in the 600s, if I remember. Yeah, 665.
Wow, venomized. That's cool.
Brilliant. And then we've got, who's this? That's Venomized Gwen. So Gwenum. Brilliant.
That's awesome.
And then, like I said, some of the stickers are comic covers. Look at those.
That's cool.
That's actually, this one is my favorite ever Spider-Man story. Goes 107 to 110 in Spectacular Spider-Man. It's when they were trying dark stuff, and it's the Sin Eater storyline.
Oh,
written by Peter David. Sin. Yeah. And it's pretty full on. It starts off with Jean DeWolf getting shotgunned. It goes downhill from there. And then, of course, you got the Spider-Man Unlimited there with Ben Reilly and Spidey from the 90s.
That's crazy.
And then, so those are stickers. So I'm keeping this comic cover stickers as well. And then the card, issue 200 of Spectacular Spider-Man, which I think you saw last week.
That's a great cover.
It's a great cover. That's Sal Buscema artwork.
I love Sal Buscema.
But look at the gloss. You can really see the gloss on that. See, it's just on the characters there.
So sick.
It's really well done. And it's on the lettering as well.
I need to get better condition ones for Surfer. That Versus one and the Delota one are not in the best of shape.
Oh, from the Versus 2022.
And the 80th. Yeah. It's such a shame because I have like 3 or 4 copies, but they're just not very
To be honest with you, I think a lot of it is about, I mean, you've seen the packs. You've seen what they're like. You know, I've opened these stickers now. If I leave
Did you see the 80th has an Italian and a Brazil? We talked about that, right? I had to get the other one.
You mentioned, yeah. Is this on the cards?
It's on the back on the copyright.
That means I'm going to have to get multiple.
I know, sorry.
Okay, all right. So these stickers, perfectly flat. I've just opened them. If I leave them in here, just out in the air like that, in 24 hours or so, the top one will have curled up like that. Just because they're thin. That's just what they do.
They're so
if you don't stick them down,
and they look vacuum packed in the thing too.
They are sealed. So, so the thing is with these, if you're intended to keep them separately and not stick them in a book, put them in a card like a deck sleeve or something like that, pretty much straight away, because you don't need to see the back. You know, you don't need to see the back. So just put them in a deck protector sleeve. They tend to be a bit thicker and they've got the full backs on them.
They're sturdy. Yeah.
So I use the ones that Upper Deck do for their legendary games.
Oh yeah, they're nice. So, that's cool.
And you can, you know, I've got some with Spidey on the back as well. So when you turn it over,
it's perfect Spidey. Then.
So yeah, so that's what I do. Right, let's get back to these questions. Right, here we go. So now, fortunately, on my phone, you see I put a little green tick on the ones that we did last week. So I remember. I thought you'd like that.
I do.
Right now, where to start? Where to start? Well, actually, this is a good place to start because we just mentioned his name, so we will invoke him. Tony Perner asks, do you like all sets from UD? Do you like that all sets from Upper Deck seem to include characters that shouldn't be there? E.g. Mr. Sinister in the recent Spider-Man Metal Universe set. To which a guy called Matt Knoxall followed up and said, Tony, why use him instead of the Punisher? Would have made for some great comic cut cards. And he's right. No, I don't like it. Is my, as you could tell from my thoughts on Spidey Metal Universe. So there's at least 20 characters that had no business whatsoever being in that set.
Agreed.
I just don't get it.
It didn't make sense. And it didn't make sense. There was not a lot of like, I don't know. It's just really upsetting, man. Yeah. Like I don't get, like they have this one card in there of Aunt May and Uncle Ben, and they're at a dinner table and they're kind of looking at each other lovingly.
Yeah.
Like they could have just had that. I mean, I know you need a high and low, but they could have had that as like a high, as a low, and then a high one of them together. And just have
rather than have separate
20
cards.
Freaking cards instead of having 40 something cards with Ben and Aunt May everywhere. Like it just feels like, especially with the types of characters like Sinister and stuff like that, there's no like theme. Like I mean, like cards. I don't know. Like, you know, it's funny. Like I've been doing, and I promise this comes back to the point of Tony's question, but like I've been looking at cards more intensely now, because of the stupid grading thing that I got my idiotic self into. And I'm going to be honest with you, man. It does not, it just doesn't compare. The 90s stuff is so beyond anything that's happening, really. You know what I mean? Like a few card sets here and there are nice modern wise, but like they're just so spot on. Design wise, they're interesting. They do something. Like it just feels like it's really hard to compare to what was done then to what is being done now. Now. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. Like they're just so purposeful and they feel interesting. They feel like weird things. Like for instance, like the best part of Spider-Man Metal is the retro animated cards, hands down. Right? between the design, the character choice, the die cuts in them, like those are like, that's Marvel cards, in my opinion. Like those are interesting. Or like the way the comic cuts are designed.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about the border. Like that's really fun and interesting. But like zooming in so closely on characters, using the same art across palladiums and low and high, having that many parallels. I don't know, man. Like, and it doesn't stop at character choice. It goes deeper than that. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to make a set and charge people that kind of money for it, everything from top to bottom needs to be purposeful and designed and have some kind of theme, because otherwise there's no longevity to the product. And
well,
it
like
makes no
Black
sense
Diamond,
to pay money for it. Black Diamond made total sense.
Yes.
From top to bottom, every card, everything had purpose, everything had design, everything had something to it that would ensure the longevity and the historical significance of the card set. And as of right now, like they can't keep doing this where sets are coming out and not only is QC an issue, quality control, but also like the content of the set doesn't make sense. I don't know. Like I hate to go off on a tangent like that, but
no,
I'm not very happy with that direction at all.
No,
it doesn't make sense.
I'd rather have had less cards and have them more Spidey focused for a
that's
set
my
that's
point.
branded
like,
to be Spidey. You know,
I'd rather have
it as
less
50 and
cards.
50.
Like that's it.
I'd rather
like,
have a strong 50 than a weak 100.
Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like I'd rather have less than have so much of stuff that's not necessarily needed or wanted or desired. Like it doesn't make sense.
Or rather, actually, I'd rather have something that divides equally by 9. I'd rather have a solid 81.
How do you not know?
I'd rather have a solid 81. Yeah. Or solid 72.
You have it divided by 9.
That's
purposeful.
I mean, I know a lot of people are storing stuff in like one touches and card bins these days and
but like
touches
cards,
and things like that. But still,
cards are 9 pages.
Yeah.
Like that's essential to the history of cards. It's like they're in 9, and especially with Marvel. Marvel had so many sets where the 9-page made a full image, right? Like the Marvel Universe or
Danger Room.
Jesus. Danger Room.
From the Jim Lee
classic
set.
Jim Lee set.
Jim Lee X-Men.
They made 9-page battle scenes or team ups or like had this really cool construction in them, or the 3 things like in Flea Ultra Spider-Man with Hildebrand.
The
triptychs.
Yeah.
Like those things are essential to the hobby type of thing, man. When you start making 100, 200, that kind of stuff, you're just doing that because your numbers are like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
No, I'm with you. Tony followed up with, please ask the powers that be at Upper Deck why they don't give artists reasons why sketch cards are rejected. So I've just read that out. So powers that be at Upper Deck, please. I mean, ultimately, it's not them that reject it; it's Marvel, as I understand it.
But there needs to be some kind of form letter. Well, you can't have these artists working for pennies and then have them do all this work and then it's thrown away. And that's just a real shame, because I've seen a lot of cards rejected that if those cards came into the market, they'd be legendary sketch cards. Like people would really cherish those pieces, and they would be the centerpieces for a lot of collections. So it's a complete shame.
I think that there's an issue there. There's not that many people at Marvel who can and do approve stuff.
Yeah,
as in true. It could just be
I know
one
they're
person.
Swamped.
That person could be just really busy, and the Disneyfication of Marvel and their brand guidelines as to what isn't acceptable, and or what doesn't fit what Disney want Marvel characters to now look like in this modern day and age.
But those
are the challenges.
But the thing, it's very easy. You just make a template email. You have 10 reasons, 10 universal reasons. You make a template email. You put in one of those 10 reasons, a sentence or two, brief. It doesn't have to be specific for every artist, to the point where the artist is getting, notes that detail their work specifically. Just enough where you'd be like, hey, this is it. This is the one particular guideline that was circumvent, that was, made an issue. And this is why we've had to reject these. Unfortunately, we guarantee that they are, stored and they're destroyed or whatever they do with them, which is another thing I have a question about. That's it. That's all it requires, because the artists, at least the artists that I know that are getting rejected, the ones I speak to personally, they're smart enough to know to once they hear the reason that they'll, they understand how to circumvent that issue, because they don't want to see their hard work just tossed to the side like that, or, thrown away, which is what it should be, but whatever.
The thing is, if you were doing that, if you were doing a work for someone, even as a freelancer or sole proprietor or contractor, even at my office, if my boss had an issue, it'd actually give me reasons, and there'd be feedback, there'd be constructive feedback, and I'd know what to do to improve things for the next time. So it's just, I don't know, it just feels a bit rude.
It feels very rude. It feels very rude because people putting a lot of work into these things and people paying very good money for these things.
Tony has also asked, he's got 2 more questions. Tony has asked, is it true?
100%.
That's the end of it. That's the end. Tony's final question doesn't actually have a question mark after it. Radish. That's it.
He knows how much radish upsets me. I don't know why he brings this stuff up. He knows how personally affected I am. I think radish.
I think radish might actually be Tony's safe word. Let's not go there.
I was about to say something. No, I'm going to be
let's not go there. Let's not go there. Moving on. Radish. So we're going to go on. We're going to go on to other stuff.
I'm sorry. I have to ask Ian. Safe word, and it can only be food. What do you
cucumber?
Pick? Mine's pineapple.
Yeah. No, it's the one that we used when we were talking to Upper Deck.
That's right.
Do you remember?
That's right. That's right.
Yes, Grant actually emailed me once and just said reply. In reply, just said cucumber.
Cucumber.
It just cracks me up.
That's the best.
Grant. So I'm sorry. We are being a little bit harsh on you at the moment, Upper Deck, but it all comes from a place of love. Kevin Moses asks from a place of love and frustration. When will Upper Deck stop using recycled art from the different sets? Spider-Man Metal Universe has recycled art that we used in Marvel Ages, a set that was released 2 years prior to Spider-Man Metal Universe. I think we talked about it here, and I'm pretty sure Upper Deck have mentioned it. They have a library that they choose from that is made available to them of art that they can use on the when it's not an original art set. I think the challenge that I think is that they're going to that well and it's not being refreshed. It's a pool of art. It's turned more into a bit of a swamp.
Apparently it's way more than just a few images. Right. Tony from Upper Deck said that. He said it was a well. It was a massive thing. And in my opinion, that's atrocious. That's what I heard, that because I asked the same question when Upper Deck did the Spider-Man Metal review thing. I went on there and I asked him, I was like, hey,
that was the focus group thing that they did, yeah.
And I was super polite. Super polite because I'm, obviously, it's a job for them like anything else. Yeah. And people, are tired or whatever the case is. So again, this is not an attack. This is more of just like a critique and my personal opinion of things. But I was like, I'm seeing art being used in a very strange way across different inserts. I don't think it's right that you have the same art you're using for a base card on a Palladium. I don't think it's right that I'm seeing a character and their art is spanning across 3 different sets used over and over again. And, I don't think it's right to see these kind of zooms and crops that completely, destroy the essence of the character. It makes the card very unappealing, and these are very high profile characters. Could you explain the reason why those choices are being made? Is that something Marvel is forcing you to do? Are these things that you've had to change for copyright issues? Really trying to give some leeway.
Yeah.
Apparently they're going to look into it, and the person who's choosing the art, and there's a big library and they should have enough images. I'm telling you right now, I'm saying this right now. There is no reason for those 3 things to be happening. If it is something that's being controlled by Marvel, that's the only reason. But the zoom in, that's wrong. 100%. Using the same art from the insert set to the base.
In the same set. Yeah, that's just.
There's no reason for the Palladiums to have the same art on the base card in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that. There's no reason for that at all. And it's not, and look, I'm all about using artwork from the comic books on cards. I don't always need it to be original art. I'm not one of those people. Like, no. I want to see famous iterations, because here's the thing a lot of people forget sometimes, that every character has a string of artists that they have had to do interpretations of them for particular runs on their issues. Spider-Man has some, Black Cat has some, Silver Surfer has some.
Yeah, Silver Surfer Black, that was very different, wasn't it?
Yeah, Silver Surfer Black by Trad Moore and Donny Cates. Like, there are a lot of different renditions of surfers. Garney, Buscema, you know what I mean? Kirby. Like, I want to see, Morbius. I want to see all those different renditions of surfer eventually make it into a card, because for me in collecting, that's key. That's awesome, But like, for instance, in Spider-Man Metal, we got Todd McFarlane, Venom in the high series.
Brilliant.
That's something people have been wanting. The crop looked good. The card sits well. It looks nice. You know what I mean? I'm sure that image was used maybe once or twice somewhere else, but maybe in Comic Images. I can't remember.
Very few Todd McFarlane
very few times
pieces have been used by Upper Deck.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's been a lot, because I was going through all the cards for the signature series for CGC thing, and there's not a lot out there. Not really. But anyway, that's super important to collectors. But you know what? You need a person who's sitting in that chair at Upper Deck, who's picking out these images, who knows what is up.
Yeah,
like, you can't have someone there who's also picking pictures of sports things.
Yeah, shouldn't just be someone who works in creative. Should be someone who knows
in non-sport who has enough of a finger on the pulse of pulp culture to be able to siphon through these things and say, okay, we've only had this, and also just keep a database.
Keep a record of when you last used it.
That's it. Yeah. Just say, hey, here are the artists, here are the characters we use, here's the set that they come from. Yes. Does it take a little bit of work? Sure. But look at your product at the end of it. Each product, your inspiration for what images to pick becomes a lot easier, because you're not just like looking in the dark. You're like, oh, we've never used a Ron Gardney Silver Surfer before. Let's go to the library, let's pick an image, and boom, now we have a surfer from Ron Gardney. That's it. I don't know. That's the one thing that's lost my mind really recently with product from Upper Deck.
Yeah.
It's just not right.
Kevin Moses also goes on to ask, oh, sorry, I've got to have a stretch.
Oh, no, I've been yawning. I don't know why I'm yawning. I feel so embarrassed.
Well, it's relatively early morning for you still. It's only just after 10 or whatever it is. I've had lunch, and I slightly overdid it at lunch, and I've got a big meal to come up for the evening, so I'm kind of ready for a nana nap right now. I could just quite happily just put my feet up and have some 15-minute shut-eye. Kevin Moses goes on to ask, also, is Upper Deck ever going to address the distributors who constantly gouge prices and continuously manipulate the market? I'm looking squarely at David Adams and Steel City about this question. Upper Deck listen to this podcast, so I kind of just want to leave that hanging in the air. I'd love for Upper Deck to at some point come on and talk to us properly about this, because I'm slightly uneasy where it says, we have nothing to do with the prices. That's completely out of our hands. I just don't quite buy that, because you're making the product. So there's something slightly broken about the system for my money and for everyone's money, because it's costing them more money than it should be.
Agreed.
So, yeah, I would love for someone at Upper Deck to actually properly talk to us about that. Now, I'm going to caveat that to say that Upper Deck are a private company, so they're under no obligation to talk to us about that at all, because
no, of course not.
The nature of their business is that they don't have to talk to any of us. We're lucky that they've come on and spoke to us much.
No, they're awesome.
But I would love for someone who really knows how the distribution network is set up at Upper Deck would actually come on and properly lay it out and explain why it works the way it does, and at least give us some sort of understanding of why the decision was made to do that. Now, I have a feeling I know why, but it's only guesswork on my part. And I have a feeling that it works the way it does because when EPAC came out, Upper Deck needed to appease all the big distributors that were carrying the bulk of their sports product. And so there was a very favorable deal that non-sports just has to fit into. So I have a feeling that the deal, the way it works, is to keep that distributor network sweet because of EPAC. But I don't know I don't know if that's the case or not, and I'm not saying we'll ever find out. But that's my. But what I'd love to do, someone like Keith Boyle or Phil, Paul Zenisek, who both own businesses, you both actually understand how that distribution network works and how it is laid out, and they've actually posted in group. And I've read what they've written, but I still don't completely understand it. When you're reading something and you're like, I know this is a perfectly reasonable and logical way of explaining this, but I'm reading it and I'm just rereading it, and it's just not going in. So what I'd love to do is maybe we do an episode first with one of those guys, just so that they can break down how it is for everyone. Yeah, I think that's all. I think people would love that.
I don't know. I mean, I think the problem that I have with so much of this,
that's on mute,
is that so many strange angles. Like, I understand Upper Deck has to make its money. Yeah. And if, they're not selling Spider-Man metal for $500 and something on EPAC or whatever it was, and everybody else is selling it for $500 or something, that's money on the table. I get that.
Yeah, I get that.
That makes sense to me. I understand. But the problem is that you have digital cards in your packs. That's an issue.
Yeah.
And you're charging that price for a physical product that doesn't have digital cards. Like, that makes me a little confused on why that price point is existing there. And the truth is, here's the thing. Marvel card fans, all of us, we pay for this stuff. People don't know that, but we are a tight community and we don't mess around. We buy this stuff out. It disappears. It's not because of the little sports card guy or, some curator or someone on YouTube yelling out about something. It has nothing about to do with those guys at all, or any of the pump and dump garbage. It's the people who collect this thing since the 90s that come back and buy this stuff and buy you out. We're the ones who do this. We're the ones that hold on to it. That's something for everybody to remember.
Yeah. And you know what? That ties in perfectly with the next question from our friend from Hawaii, Chris. Anyway, I think I've pronounced your name properly, Chris. Chris is lovely, by the way. Since we had him on.
I love Chris.
He's such a lovely guy. Such a lovely guy. I kind of want to reach out. I'm going to reach out and give you an audio hug. And in fact, there we go.
I'm doing it too.
There we go. There we go, like Chris. This. That's for you.
This is nice.
Group hug.
Yeah.
So,
this is great.
Chris, and this was weeks ago. He typed this. I hope it's not too late to submit a question for Sunday. No,
no, it wasn't.
Sorry that this one is long. Feel free to edit or condense. It's not long. It's actually only 2 sentences. Undoubtedly, you're aware of the turbulence that Marvel cards have seen over the past couple of years. Turbulence? What turbulence? I know nothing of what he speaks. I'm kidding. Frustration from long-time collectors, the influx of investors and sports card collectors, PMG mania, blaster flippers, etc. Where does the Marvel card collecting hobby go from here? Is the hobby irreparably broken, or are these just growing pains that will create a more diverse but stronger Marvel card community?
So, funny story. I was talking to someone who is a longtime comic book collector. And basically I've been working grading comic books for a very long time. And I was having a personal conversation with this person. And I was talking about this hobby because they wanted to understand Marvel cards a little bit more. And they were like, this is so funny. This is exactly what happened to comic books. And I was like, that's interesting. What do you mean? And she was like, well, basically what it is now is that anybody who has any of these books that are like truly $1 million books, things that don't exist on the market, is controlled by 5 or 6 people. And those 5 or 6 people either die, sell, or you never see the light of day again. And that's kind of what happened with sketch cards, old school sketch cards for Marvel. right? A lot of these old school Marvel sketch cards are controlled by 6-7 people. Basically, unfortunately, you're either waiting for someone to decide to sell one, you get something that they really need to trade, or unfortunately, they pass away for whatever reason. Hopefully, old age, all that kind of stuff. But you know what I mean? Like, that's usually what happens there. I think eventually the different pockets of Marvel cards will do the same in terms of PMGs, which I'm not very interested in on that end. You'll have the 6 or 7 people who have the crazy stuff, and they'll trade amongst each other, and it'll just be a circle.
26 of them.
That I love that. That was good. That was really good. And then you'll have the same thing with MM, and then you'll have the same thing with whatever other set.
Yeah.
The truth is, I had this experience, and this might sound corny, and it's because it's coming from me. It's definitely going to be corny, or special, as someone commented to me recently. I said that too much, which really upset me. But I was looking at the hologram, which is one of my favorite cards from the 1994 Marvel Universe.
Oh yeah.
Surfer.
Yeah.
And I just looked at it, and I was just like going through the collection because, again, I'm doing the grading thing, which I'm less excited about the grading. I'm more excited about looking back at these cards and really looking at them again, which I always look at them, but I'm getting to look at them again. And I'm just kind of like transported. And I just remember that initial feeling I had about Marvel cards and how excited I was to see them and experience them at that point. And then I'm going through the Metal Blaster, and I'm going through my Flare, and I'm going through my Marvel Universe and my old masterpieces. And I'm kind of like, maybe this is where it's at for me. Maybe I make a hard line at 2013 or 2012 beginnings for Surfer, and that's it. And be happy with that. And I got to be honest, like, and saying it out loud, obviously it puts a little bit of a target, on me and all this other weird stuff. But I'm happy with where I'm at, and I'm enjoying the cards like we always talk about. And I think that's where I'm just going to be. To be honest with you, I think that's where I'm going to go. I think that's the future of Marvel cards for me, is that my appreciation for the ones that got me into the hobby will deepen. And here's the other thing to say about that. I think that will change from person to person. Like a good friend of mine, Alonzo, who's really into Spider-Man metal, that guy loves Spider-Man metal. He went hardcore into it. He's bought tons of it. Hasn't really sold any. He sold one card basically since he's bought all the product. And he was a Pokemon collector, always loved Spider-Man, finally got into Spider-Man metal, was able to like buy a lot of the cards that he wanted because he was able to like buy a lot of the product. And he's as happy as a clam. You know what I mean? And that's his set. And I think that's, if there is a way to answer that question without being too long-winded, because I've been talking forever now, is that I do think people are going to find the sets and the cards that mean something to them, and they'll just come back to those instead of trying to, as we, collect them all. You know what I mean? Because I just don't think that's the future of card collecting anymore. It's not collecting all. And I think that's the biggest growing pain of all this.
Yeah, got to catch them all. And that process started with, well, it had already started by then. I think it definitely happened with Masterpieces 2016, because that set made master sets unobtainium. But it was already happening with the size of Marvel Beginnings. I mean, I was watching Keith and Amanda talk on Instagram yesterday, and Keith Boyle, and he was saying that he's still got some holograms to go from Marvel Beginnings because they're so, they are truly difficult to get.
They were a monster to find. They were really tough, and they weren't really selling very high. No. But they weren't selling very high with the ones you found, and that's because a lot of people don't realize that. Yes, Marvel cards were not always expensive, but you know what? And I'm going to say this publicly, 100%. The stuff that was in really good condition that people really loved, you can't find. That wasn't just everywhere on eBay. All the extra stuff you saw on ComC and eBay before the boom and all stuff, that was stuff that people left over because it wasn't in high grade. And that stuff was just sitting there because everyone else had a complete set who was going to have a complete set. That's why you found those holograms or PMGs from 2013 and all this stuff around, because that was the leftovers from the great the great scavenger hunt of building sets. People don't realize that now. Like, there's a lot of cards from MM16, an orange Silver Surfer Tier 4 is sitting on eBay for $299 or whatever it is. And that card's sitting there. It's because people have their sets built. You know what I mean? People have these completed and stuff, and it's a lot of money to spend on these cards. But
yeah,
I guess my point is that it's not that the cards were once cheap, now they're expensive, or people just didn't know and now they're super expensive. All that's just irrelevant. The point is that the people who collected these cards, who really cherish these cards, and there are a lot of them, keep them. People forget that. Look at Keith. Keith has been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
For him to have what he has from beginnings and from what we talked about privately, that man has been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
And that stuff he gets is keeping. That's locked away.
Yeah.
Deep six somewhere in his closet. That's never going to see the light of day.
That's one hell of a closet. The amount of stuff.
No, it's one hell of a closet. No,
it is one hell of a closet.
He's not even, and he like, he's one of the biggies, obviously, but he's not even the tip of the iceberg. You know, there's people we don't even know that
absolutely
this stuff.
There's loads.
You know what I mean?
There's loads.
Crazy people who
I keep thinking of this really terrible movie about an underwater thing called Deep Star 6. And I keep thinking of that. No, Deep Star 6 it's called. It's some underwater base. Let me just quickly Google this. It's fascinating listening for everyone.
Welcome to the
But you keep saying Deep Six, and it's not an expression I'm aware of. But Deep Star 6 was a 1989 film. It's a science fiction horror film.
Oh, that sounds fun.
A group of Navy engineers are building an underwater base when they inadvertently disturb the lair of a gigantic creature. And it's got Greg Evigan, Matt McCoy, Miguel Ferrer, Nancy Everhard. I mean, proper, like, chewy C-list people.
Oh, wow.
Cindy Pickett. I mean, I recognize these names. Matt McCoy was on a really good episode of Star Trek Next Generation, playing Devonani Rao, I believe his name was, the character. Greg Evigan was in My Two Dads. Miguel Ferrer, of course, he was in RoboCop, passed away a few years ago.
Well, the phrase Deep Six, I think I might have used it wrong, but the phrase Deep Six is in former North America, Deep Sixed for past tense, and it says destroy or dispose of something and irreversibly. Or
oh, wow, okay.
Something. So it's like deep sixing, like evidence and stuff. Where the hell did I pick up that word?
I don't know. But basically, what you're saying,
I got that shit.
Well,
that's
fantastic.
always been in my head too.
Let's just go with it. But basically, they're holding, is what you're saying. You know, these people are holding. They're not dumping. And the thing is, the other thing is, if you're looking for something and you're finding it really difficult, chances are that someone else has got an unfinished collection and they're also looking for it. You know,
that's always what that's what I've always experienced, man. Yeah.
But it's where does it go from here? I don't know. Listen, I think there'll always be churn in the hobby. There's been quite a lot of churn recently. It's a wonderful word, that is. New people coming in, old people leaving. And there'll always be quite a lot of that. There certainly is in the various Facebook groups, because people do burn out. You know, there's been people very recently. There was someone, in fact, we were talking about him before we came on air, who's just recently left hobby groups, not just MCCW, but he's left some Star Wars groups because he just needs to have a break, because it's pretty intense, because social media magnifies everything. And, you know, you end up with people raging at each other at 3 a.m. Over the most ridiculous stuff.
Stupid stuff.
So I think I'm going to... How do I answer this question without answering the question? I'm going to answer the question in a different way. I don't think the hobbies are irreparably broken, but I think, as you said, you go back to your source. And, you know, the one thing I hear people talking about who are properly, like, followers of faith is that they always go back to the Bible. You know, that's their source. So they go back to it, they read it for comfort, and they read it for, you know, whatever religion. It might be the Torah, it might be the Quran, whatever it is. You go back to the text, and that's your kind of guiding, you know, your North Star, if you like. I go back to my binder and look through my cat PC, as you did with your Surfer, and you look through it and you again get the feels. You know, you get the feels for whatever it was that led you there in the first place. So I did that yesterday because I was like, I've had a busy work week. Loads of people are chatting on Instagram about the hobby. And because of the fact they're chatting about it and you haven't posted in a week, you kind of think, oh, maybe I'm just not, maybe the hobby's going on without me. I have those irrational thoughts at stupid o'clock in the morning when I wake up. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to my binder. And I pulled out a really good comic cut. And I posted it last night just to share it with people, Comic cut Cataday. Because it's Black Cat, and I haven't got masses of comic cuts, so it's not going to be a massively ongoing stream. But you know what? I thought I'd just post it up there, and it, brought a little bit of lightness into people's days. And you know what? I'm going to go back into that binder in a couple of days' time, and I'm going to pull out something else, and I'm going to share it on Instagram.
That's the way to do it, man. Like, that's the way to do it. I 100% agree. That's amazing.
And, not just cat as well. I'm going to have to start sharing some more stuff on there. That's not just cat.
You have a lot more stuff.
I got a fantastic thing the other day. Let me show you this. It is knackered, but it is mine. And I'm not talking about
I like that.
My ass. Where is it? Yes, this. Issue 26 of Amazing Spider-Man. It's super low grade.
But it looks cool as hell.
Yeah, I read it. I can smell it even through the bag and board, which are new. It's beautiful. I mean, it's barely, the cover's barely on. It's got ink stamps on the front cover because that's the way they are. They were in the UK, and it's brittle. It's quite brittle. You can see the edges are getting all chippy. But I was able to read the whole thing, and it held together. So that's my criteria. It's a reading copy.
That's awesome.
But it's issue 26.
Oh, I love that.
From 1964, I want to say.
That's so crazy.
But it's beautiful.
That's so crazy.
And do you know what the crazy thing about this is? I got this on eBay for less than the cost of an e-pack pack of Spider-Man Metal Universe.
See, that's my issue. You know what's funny? You bring that up. I don't understand.
No further questions.
No, we have other questions. I'm sorry. So,
no, we do have a question. No, I meant no further questions, as in defense rest, Your Honor. Next case.
I mean, you're right? I do that all the time with my collectibles. It's like, if this costs this, how can I realistically pay this for this card? It doesn't make sense. I know. Look, here's the truth, and here's the most frustrating part. People do make money off this stuff. It's not like it's not real.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen enough now where people are paying stupid money for things. But in my mind, a lot of this stuff doesn't make sense. And maybe I'm the crazy one, but it doesn't make sense. Like that comic book there, history. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you get to feel that part of history of your character in the book like that? That's why I like comic cuts, because I feel like they carry a little bit of that essence.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I'm not blowing out comic cuts. I don't think a comic cut should cost more than the book. You know what I mean?
No.
That's crazy town.
I went to sleep the other night and I missed an eBay listing. Sorry, I've completely cut you off there, but I just want to share this. Yeah, I completely forgot. And to be honest with you, I probably couldn't afford it anyway. But I've been wanting a comic cut for Amazing Spider-Man 195. And there was one on eBay, and it was at something like $15, and it was 4 hours to go, which would have meant 3 in the morning. So I was going to set myself a little snipe. It ended up going at $58.99, which is ridiculously good value for a Spider-Man Metal Universe comic cut from Amazing Spider-Man 195, second appearance of Black Cat.
Oh,
isn't that the most beautiful cut? And I missed it. So I forgot to set my bid.
It'll come back up.
It's nice. But I just, because the thing is, I didn't feel the need to chase down comic cuts from Spider-Man Metal Universe from issue 194, because I've got 4 cuts from issue 194.
And your cuts are nice.
From Fleer Ultra Spider-Man.
Really,
so I kind of feel like I've done that. I don't need to do it again, just with a different border, because a lot of them are the same. JD's been posting a lot of these, and obviously they're using the same books for panels, and so they will choose almost identical images. So you have cuts that are coming out now with repeated images, which is, it kind of is what it is. I mean, it's going to happen.
I mean, for books that are not expensive, that's obviously going to happen. But it was a weird conversation, because I thought part of it was trying to claim that these cuts will always be around. I got to be honest, when the book costs more than like $20,000, $10,000 to cut up, you know what I mean? You're not going to get comic cuts from that book like every set. And even so.
And those are the ones that make sense to go a bit balls out.
That makes that for money wise, that makes sense. And he's right in that sense. Like the thing people are trying to charge both on sketch cards and comic cuts that should have nowhere being that kind of money for the box, even though that's the hit of their box. Too bad. Like that's not the money that should cost for the box.
Yeah, you're just trying to recoup. So
you're just trying to recoup. Yeah. That doesn't mean that's the value. You know what I mean? So many people are experiencing FOMO and losing their minds that they get confused. But I agree. I appreciate that he does that because people need to have some point of reference for a lot of this stuff. But some books you're not going to get tons of cuts from. Like I would imagine it doesn't make sense for Upper Deck to spend that kind of money on that book multiple times to put him in multiple sets. Maybe I'm wrong in that.
I mean, Amazing Spider-Man 15, I think that was the good choice for this set. So hats off to them on that. And I love the fact that they looked different. The comic cuts from
even
that,
Spider-Man
and they were very
1.
limited. And Spider-Man 1. Now, here's the thing. This is one of the other reasons why I chose a comic cut for yesterday. Someone in group the other day said something that everyone else just kind of got not completely pitchforky. They just kind of laughed,
Pitchforky?
You know what I mean? Yeah, there's that gif that's taken from the Simpsons movie where all the town are approaching with pitchforks and torches. They didn't quite go that bad, but someone posted in response. I think Eugene posted a comic cut, and someone posted in response, "Oh, these are taken from reprints anyway." As in, it was from Amazing Spider-Man 1, but it was from a reprint of Amazing Spider-Man 1. It's like, no, it's not.
No, it's not, idiot.
It's not. So if anyone read that and has not gone back to it and has taken that away and thinks, oh, well, there's no point in me going for that because it's just like, no, it's not. Because you can tell. You can tell from the age of the paper.
Immediately, you could tell.
And, and from a reprint, they'll have gloss and they'll be vibrant and they'll be much more modern.
Because printing. They don't, what people don't realize, which I hate to say because it's only going to cost me more money in the future, but like Marvel doesn't have a lot of scans of this stuff. They had to recolor, redo stuff. They had things they were not keeping track of these books like they should have, because how would they have known this was going to happen? Like, you can't find the reprints. If you ever read a reprint, thank you very much, is that you would know that the pages are glossy. They're colored differently.
And the white is white, which was never the case, even when the books first came out in the 60s, because it was printed on pulp, paper, which is why they're so brittle now,
Of course.
I mean, that book is eating itself as I sit here.
Yeah, there's no, of course.
It's degrading massively. Much like me.
Much like everything.
Thank you, Chris. That was a great question.
Awesome.
Yeah, Joshua Estes. Yeah. I would like to see Upper Deck acknowledge where the art was from an artist if reused on back of card. Yes, 100%.
That's the way it
Please
should be.
Credit the artist.
100%.
Please credit the artist.
There should never be a card in the future.
Even on the original art sets. We had this when we were doing the Flair episode. It's like on cards 1 to 90. It's just not on the back of the card. It's just the worst.
I heard that in the edit.
It's rude.
And I was like, I'm so glad they mentioned it because it should be there. It's not only rude, but it's stupid. That's the card. That's the essence of the freaking card. Like, Marvel card collectors are art collectors. They should have the name of the artist on the card.
Yeah.
Always. Whatever set it is, that should be common practice.
Mind you, they put James Erdel out of a job because, bless him, he's doing the fantastic job in MCCW every day. He's doing what he did with Marvel Annual.
Because he's a rock star.
Yeah, and he's finding the original art source from each of the base cards from Spider-Man Metal Universe, and he's posting 2 a day because he's doing low series in the morning and high series in the afternoon. It's great. I love it.
What a beast.
Hats off to him.
What a beast.
Thank you, James. We salute you.
Thank you, James.
In more than one way. Glad I'm sat down. Anyway, Isidore Chavez, Izzy.
Can't take you anywhere, man. Like, we're never going to do a podcast that makes any sense.
That's not true. Isidore Chavez.
Izzy.
Sounds like some sort of spy. A Latin spy.
Latin spy.
Do you guys prefer seeing older iconic art from classic sets we all grew up with, or do you like to see more of the modern style of art in today's sets? For as much as I love the classics, I look for the future of art as it's fresh and fun. I just hope that we see more original and less recycled in the future of Marvel. Even if it is recycled, I want more variety from the library. So yes, so we're going back to that. So I'm not going to dwell on that, but can I just say, I was so. That much as everyone's got their own Masterpieces 2016 or Masterpieces 2018 or Masterpieces 2020, there are stands for each of those set, and they'll defend that hill until they go down. No one's right. Newsflash: none of you are right.
No
it's just your personal preference.
It's subjective, man.
I just loved how different. I loved the difference. Vive la différence is what I say. How Masterpieces 20 was compared to Masterpieces 18. And how Masterpieces 18 was compared to Masterpieces 16. I love that. I love that.
It should be.
And it felt vibrant. It felt invigorating. I loved the original art on Flare 19. Oh my giddy aunt. We're massively overdue for an original art set. Now, I know COVID notwithstanding, but we've been on the backside of COVID for over 2 years now. So we're kind of due for an original art release.
Like, let's go, bro.
Which is like Fleer Ultra Avengers. I bring it on. My fear about Fleer Ultra Avengers, and I'm trying not to get too obsessed on this right now, is that from the previews I've seen, I'm worried that the card design will get in the way of the original art. If that makes sense, based on what I've seen from Fleer Ultra Avengers so far. I'm hoping I'm wrong, because the beautiful thing about Fleer Ultra X-Men and Fleer Ultra Spider-Man in 2017 and 2018 respectively is that the art very much was the top of the pie, and the other stuff, the what design there was on the card supported it but stayed in the background.
Agreed.
I'm hoping that Fleer Ultra Avengers keeps that the same.
It needs to.
Slightly worried about the preview stuff I've seen.
I'm worried about how many parallels we get. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah. I mean, listen,
I'm with you. I worry about your thing way more than anything else.
But I am looking forward to that set, because at the very least on that set, I will probably want a set of the base set, because I assume that I will be able to appreciate and experience and enjoy the original art on that through that base set. So nice. Whatever else, I'll be happy with that. My girl has never, as far as I'm aware, been in the Avengers, so I'm quite happily. In fact, I've had it confirmed that Black Cat is not in that set. So
nice.
I'll be happily sitting on the sidelines on that one and going, yay, like I was with Metal X-Men Universe.
It's always nice to sit in the stands.
I have to buy back. Yeah, I need a little bit of bench time.
Yeah, dude,
really need some bench time. So do you prefer seeing older iconic art from classic sets? You know what? I like a bit of both. And that's the beauty about being a character collector, is when you flick through the binder, if you've got it as organized as I do, is it goes old to new, and then it has a little bit of a segue in the middle where I break up the kind of eras a little bit by stickers or TCG. So I've kind of got the 90s stuff, and then I've got a buffer of TCG or stickers. I can't remember which order it comes in. And then I've got the Rittenhouse stuff.
That's cool.
And then I've got another little buffer of whatever, it's not stickers or TG, whichever one it wasn't. And then I've got Upper Deck from like 2012 up to now.
That's cool as hell. That's awesome.
That's kind of the way I do it.
That's really great.
But it's weird. For sets where buybacks have happened, I've got mixed pages, so all my flair is on one page. So it just about feels a nice 9-up.
That's nice.
Including the retro stuff from...
retro stuff.
Yeah.
I love those retro cards. The more and more I look at them, I wish I had full sets of those things. I really like them.
Well, in one of the subsets from Flair, I can't remember, I think it was 2015, there was a Flair subset, and it uses Dodson art.
I know.
From the comics.
I know.
So it's not original art, it's reused, but it's still Terry Dodson art. Terry Dodson art just works on a card.
It really does.
So I think we'll see both. I think we'll carry on seeing the recycled set just because of the nature of what it is. Original art does take a long time to do. It's not a quick thing. Plus, it all needs to be approved. But definitely, we've spoken about the variety from the library. Definitely. This is a really good one. Paul Zenisek says, with any new set, the card acquisition rate seems to be lightning fast and seems much faster with Spidey Metal than other sets before it. FOMO. Do you have any advice, guidance on patience or a story about patience paying off in the long run? Patience paying off in the long run. Well, we both.
My whole collection is built on patience. I mean, both of ours. I'm assuming like I've waited. I mean, what's the longest I've ever waited for a card? Or were they? It was in 2000 when I was working for Dade County Schools. I was working. Oh God, 2007, something like that. Where I forget when I first saw sketch cards. It was way earlier than that. I was high school, so 2004, 2003. I don't remember, but I saw sketch cards for the first time. Silver Surfer sketch cards, and I lost my mind. And I couldn't afford it because I was still high school, because they came out in 98, 99. But how was I going to do that stuff? So I was just collecting the regular cards, and I showed that letter from eBay from 1999 where I'm buying a hologram through my mom's account. But I waited I got these just last year or this year, and nice. I saw these.
Oh, my Deodato.
I saw these on
beautiful.
Ooh, what was it? Scoundrel. I saw these on Scoundrel.
Wow. Okay.
Back in the day, and it was the same owner who had them
all that time.
And I've been keeping up with him for a long time, but he's a ghost. And but I've been keeping up with him, and I overpaid for these. Beyond stupid, overpaid for them. But I sold some stuff, had some money.
Nice.
I sold extra cards I had, things that I pulled that I was like, no, I guess I won't keep these, or sketch cards or something like that.
Nice.
And I finally did it. But that was years and years and years. I mean, decades of waiting. And I know people who've been waiting even longer for stuff. It's all patience. Honestly, in my opinion, the better you are at understanding yourself in terms of what you like and what you will cherish, the patience is easy because it happens eventually. And that's it. And it sucks to wait, and it sucks to go through the headache of it. But long-term collectors, man, I mean, that's the job in every hobby is just waiting.
I think it's patience. There's also a little bit of laziness on my part because I've still not finished Masterpieces 2020. And it's just because I haven't pushed for it because other stuff's coming up. And you know what I'm like? I'm like a dog, a three-legged dog chasing a fire hydrant. Well, no, fire engine. What am I doing? Anyway, one of those. There's someone somewhere will understand what I said, and they can tell everyone else. Because I end up chasing something else, or they release another set, and I haven't finished doing the last one. So, but yeah, Masterpieces 2020. But people will say, "Oh, just go on Comps and buy it." But I've aimed to collect, with the exception of the EPAC achievements for it. I'm aimed to collect Masterpieces 2020 physical, and I've always done that with the Masterpieces sets. The only exception has been for Tier 4 Purple and EPAC achievements, because I've had to use Upper Deck because of the limited nature of them, and obviously plates and things like that. You might have to go, if it only exists on EPAC. But yeah, so at some stage, I just need to finish my base set 1 to 81 on Masterpieces 2020, and it's not necessarily patience. I just keep forgetting to, because I'm looking at this week. I could have quite happily done. At the moment, I'm doing these Panini ones because they're cheap and I can buy them at the shop down the road. These are $1 a pack.
That's awesome, dude.
And
I love that.
But yeah, believe me, if I had a ComC store just down the road and I could go in there and grab some of the stuff on there that's at 50 cents a dollar, then I'd do it. But it's slightly more difficult. Sorry, my thing is rubbing on my zip, and it's really annoying because I can hear it through my headphones. So I'm just going to move my cable.
You got to wear underwear for that too.
Me.
Wait, what'd you say?
I'm sorry. No. Anyway, what were we talking about? So, but the card acquisition rate does seem lightning fast. But yes, but everyone's in a sprint, because the thing is at the moment is because there's so much numbered stuff and there's all these parallels. And I think that's why everyone's in a sprint, because everyone's trying to just get their rainbows. And I've seen people collecting rainbows. All of a sudden, rainbows is in fashion. I've seen people collecting rainbows of characters I hadn't even heard of or didn't even know they went for. A lot of people are doing rainbows because it's accidental. A lot of people are doing rainbows because it's the thing to do.
Honestly, I was just speaking
And in
to
2 years'
someone.
time, they'll be selling them.
So this is not someone who would be doing that, but you're absolutely right. You're 100% right. But this person I was just talking to, who's a buddy of ours, Rust, and he went for a rainbow recently that he showed me from Spider-Man Metal. I don't know if I could say the character because I don't want to cause him
No, that's fine.
more of a headache. But he was loving it and having a good time. But it was really, I will say that there is some kind of stupid fun about collecting a character that no one else seems to care about, rainbowing, because I had that kind of experience with Spot. It was like where I'm kind of a part of it. No one cares. And I'm like, this is awesome. But no, there is a lot of rainbow hunting. This is happening in the Star Wars thing too. Like personally, like
it's because all the colored parallels in that.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I'm out. I think I'm out of the rainbow stuff. Like I honestly like no, in all seriousness, like I think because there's gonna be prices that I'm not gonna compromise on. So like surfer wise, when he comes back, or like even Mando, I'll just talk about Mando. There are cards out of 5 that are really pretty cards that I'd like to get the out of 5 edition because it's the closest one to the 1 of 1. I can spend 200, 230 there and be done with collecting the set. And that's it's like buying a box, but in one card, which is my logic.
Well, you get the card that you wanted from that box.
Right. Exactly. And it's done.
Without having all the other stuff sitting on your shelf for years and years.
Exactly. And then I don't buy anything for a month or two and I'm good and everything's copacetic. But like the truth is like, people are charging thousands of dollars now for something simply numbered with a color variant. I'm really trying not to shit on people's collections, but it's so hard to be a person that talks publicly about things and then not be honest about how you feel about things and get attacked.
Hashtag real talk.
This is
a hashtag real talk moment. Yeah. No, Amanda
I just don't know how not to do it. And I just can't not do it. And the truth is, I don't understand why anyone would pay that kind of money for something just because of a hard numbered.
Yeah.
And the truth is, there's a whole business, a whole group of people, a whole world of collectors out there that have built their whole collections based on the rarity of the serial number. And there are huge cons and huge positives to doing it. You know, no one else can have it, insured rarity. You know what I mean? It's desirable for a lot of people because it's the number and
holds its value.
Proof of that holds its value. So I am in the wrong, but personally, and I think that's what's also brought me back to the 90s cards, is I'm just like, I don't know if I'm all about this right now or in the future. Like, I gotta be honest, I was really MM16 really put a bad taste in my mouth for Marvel cards. That was awful. And it's not Jusko's work, you know, and Jusko's the best, you know what I mean? Simply lovely and nice and all that stuff. And he did a great surfer. It's a phenomenal surfer, but collecting that rainbow put a bad taste in my mouth. And it really put me off from collecting like that ever again. And I just seen 20 cards as parallels, seeing what MM is going to be like in the future, because I can already see what that's going to be. I got to be honest, man. I don't think I'll ever rainbow again. I think I'll get the color I like the most personally. The one that I think looks good with the character. And I think that'll be it. And I'll get the inserts because I think the inserts will look cool and different. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think for me, rainbows are no more. That's the end of that. I'll never do that again.
I mean, I think the number of parallels on Spidey Metal is just, I mean, I could make a choice. I could either go for the numbered stuff or I could go for the EPAC achievement stuff. And I chose to go for the EPAC achievement stuff because it's not hard numbered, but there's damn few of those 100 combined greens.
Way more few than people give credit
exactly.
to. People don't even understand.
So I've got those, and who knows what condition they'll be in when they turn up, because I'm seeing some really interesting posts about that. But beyond that, the numbered stuff, apart from, the greens I'm not going after because there's crazy mofos spending more money than cents and corner in that market at the moment, so they're welcome to them, quite frankly. I don't, I need the green more than I need the green. That makes sense.
I like that. That's a good one.
It should be, yeah.
That's a good one.
If you've got so much green, you're going to spend it all on green, then you need your head red. But collect out or if collecting is actually what you're doing, how you want to. But do you have any advice, guidance on patience? Well, we've said this before, so I don't want to repeat ourselves too much. But wait it out on ComC. Don't go nuts. There've been some great posts where people have said, right, okay, box cost this much, so I've waited a week, and then I went on ComC and I spent this much, the same as the box, and I got this, and they broke it down, and it was like bonkers.
It's a no-brainer. We've said this from the very beginning. Yeah. It's a no-brainer. And I will say this is if you are rainbowing a character, like coming from character collectors, which Ian and I are, and Ian's also a set collector, which I only have like 2 or 3 sets, so I don't consider myself a set collector that way. But I will say that, the reason you save your money when you're rainbowing a character is because when you do see the card that's out of 10, out of 5, or out of 1, or a printing plate, you have to have the cash to buy that pretty quickly, unless it's really stupid money. Depends how serious you are about the rainbow, obviously. Like, I've done this many times, but those are the things that can't be replaced, or those are the things you're waiting longer for. And I will say this, some characters are seen as investment things. So what people will do is that they'll pay stupid money for it and then charge stupid money. No one buys it for stupid money. And the value of the product's gone down, and then they have to get less than what they initially get in, and then they're desperate to sell. I've seen that happen to a lot of people. So you have to kind of be in sync with the hobby a little bit to understand what to pay for something. But that's what you spend money on if you're rainbowing seriously. At that level, everything else, something out of 25, you have the next 2 or 3 years where you're going to see that card come up again. You know what I mean? 50,
I know exactly what you mean.
Sure. Are you okay, brother?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I wasn't
going to draw attention to it, but you looked rough.
No. Thanks.
Okay, I got worried.
It's really interesting. There's a question next from Joseph Reed that perfectly ties into this, actually. But before I go, because I'm duty bound to help a fellow collector here, side question from Paul Denisek. Does anyone know the whereabouts of the 2015 Vibranium Speedball, card number 66, black printing plate, or one of the 5 bar parallels, number to 5? So there, if anyone knows the location of any of those cards, please dial 1-800 hook Paul up, and or drop us a DM. But Joseph Reed, Old Man Venom. I love Joseph. We've got to get him on. He's an artist as well.
He's really great, actually.
How can people on ComC justify selling blues and grandiose for 75 cents to $1.50 when packs are $40 and it takes 10 base to blue? Disposable income, I suppose. Not that I mind them being so cheap. I don't know if they need to justify it, but there are whales who just spend an absolute shed ton and they're after a certain thing. So the quicker they jettison the other stuff, the better. Because otherwise it just sits on ComC.
There's multiple levels to this, man. If you don't, and I do this all the time. When I say I don't understand something, it's just because I'm not in that bracket. Like, there's no way for me to fully to comprehend someone's logic like that. Because you're right. Like, it makes no sense to sell them that cheap with how much you invested into them. Yeah. But the truth is, but they want to clear it quickly. Bulk of those, they want it out. But that's the thing. They don't want to sit with it.
If you look on ComC now, you will see hundreds of grandiose of most characters, right? And the thing is, they're just going to be sat there, most of them, for years. So so Joseph sent this after the product being out for a week or less, if that. And at that point, they just want to get rid of them quickly, because people at that point will be going on to buy up stuff because they want to nail the set and move on. Now, at the moment, there's no new set about to drop, so I'm not sure why the hurry on this one. I mean, there was a lot of pent up demand, and people like to collect anything, as evidenced by the fact that Runaways sold out on EPAC. But people just want to, collect a set and put it together. And that's the thing. It could almost be any set. Could be your old man, Marvel Old Man Underpants set, and people would still
Upper Deck
afford
is
it
advertising
just as quickly.
The Western set they put out. They're advertising it every week, more than I've seen them ever advertise anything for publishing comic book Marvel stuff. So
yeah, and they're doing there was a post on LinkedIn the other day from Upper Deck. and I put, let me see if I can find it. This was hilarious. Whilst I find this, there was a great question. We've got some good questions. We've got about three more left.
These are awesome.
Yeah, we've got about 3 left actually. In fact, we might not get to them all, so apologies. Brian Hudson, aka Marvel Cards Up, on Instagram. Why are purples and oranges of original art not regarded as high as similar as numbered parallels of recycled art? Well, yeah, he's got a point. The burning question in my mind. Also, why the hell are Silver Spectrum autos being sold for $100 when they're infinitely better art perspective, artist auto, and cardstock than the cards numbered of 10 from other sets? I feel I kind of know the answer, but never hear conversation about it.
Everybody, it cracks me up, man. If it's not one set, it's the other. Everyone wants to say something about one set or the other. The truth of the matter is this. The reason Signature Series 10s are not valued as much as green PMGs is just the audience who's spending a lot of money. That's it. It has nothing to do with what's special or more special. It's sad how irrelevant that perspective is, because it's not about taste. If it was about taste, there would be things in Marvel cards that not many people know about that everyone would be after.
That would be selling for
that would be insane to grab. That would be so pricey that would make a Green Spider-Man $250K look like Mickey Mouse stuff, because that card should not. Anyway, the point is this: all that crazy stuff, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, whoever the audience is, they're going to make an assessment from their perspective, which is bad or not bad, just depends on the person. And they're going to put their money there because they feel confident about that.
Yep.
The lineage of a green PMG, there's a whole history behind the person who's buying it, and the people who are into the sports market. They understand the insert. When they look at MM16, a Silver Spectrum, and they're like, what's Silver Spectrum? That's not really around from where I come from. It's only been out for 3 years.
Yeah. Marvel Masterpieces. They still make those. It's all the feedback Eugene had when he went to the National to display his collection. See, it's exactly that.
It's not necessary. And again, here's the thing that really should be thought of, in my opinion, right? If you have been in this hobby, which Brian hasn't, and Brian's a very nice guy and knows a lot about, and has been doing a lot with Marvel, actually. All these other guys who've come in the last 2 or 3 years or however long it's been now, which I don't remember. I think the issue is that it's not about trying to convince those people that this is what's expensive. It's about grabbing what you want, what you believe in, and sticking by your guns. And eventually people will come back around and you'll be the person holding all this stuff. But again, that question is not coming from a space of collecting. That question's coming from a space like everyone else is having that question, which is, how do I put my money here? Why can't I put my money here and make a profit off here while everyone's putting their money here? And this doesn't even make any sense of why they would put their money here. And I don't think Brian's asking from an investing point, because I know Brian also collects, but I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me why there's no way of convincing someone that. I've had this conversation, and you know what I mean? And it doesn't. Yeah.
And also, in terms of that merry-go-round, Masterpieces isn't currently in people's forefront of its minds. Masterpieces is background at the moment, and the people who are getting on with it are just getting on with it. Apart from me,
and it's controlled. Like the people who have,
but
the people who have MM16 is just as controlled as the PMG market. Let's be real. We can be honest with each other. It's not. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's just real. There's 7, 10 people who own PMGs, 7 or 10 people who own all the MM16. That's not a coincidence.
But the PMGs just have wider optics because they're regarded and known.
It has nothing to do with better or anything. It really is
just as a wider audience.
I've tried to explain this to someone who was putting a lot of money into this stuff. And I told him, I was like, Marvel Masterpieces makes more sense. I'm not sure why you stuck on this. And this person who does collect and is collecting, not people who are pumping or dumping, this person who's actually collecting, they just didn't feel comfortable because they didn't know it.
Yeah,
that's really that. At the end of the day, that was their line, and
get involved.
It's their money.
Get involved.
You know what I mean? What are you going to say?
So anyway, so the post I was talking about, I saw a post on LinkedIn. It did make me laugh. So the Upper Deck company, real cards, real trades. Upper Deck EPAC bridges the gap from digital to physical, and lets you decide when, where, and how you want to experience collecting. Collectors can instantly purchase and open packs of trading cards and authentic collectibles at any time, from anywhere with Upper Deck EPAC, or without missing the exciting pack opening experience. For more info and to set up to a free account, and it's got the URL #collect the best, #hockey cards, #trading cards, #the hobby, #NHL, and it's got a little promo video on there, like a 30-second promo video for Upper Deck EPAC, which is kind of cute. It's really sweet. So I commented, you forgot #Marvel cards, #non-sports, which I know is really cheeky of me because they're clearly putting it up there as a B2B thing to speak more to the NHL partners that they have. But it did make me laugh. Well,
because it should be on there.
It should be on there.
Dude, okay, Spider-Man Metal sold out. How quickly did that product sell out? 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
I could probably do the math, but I'm not going to.
I don't remember.
It was about 2 and a bit weeks.
And most of the product was sold on EPAC.
Mm-hmm.
Over 60%. Or 65%, maybe even higher, sold on EPAC compared to hobby boxes.
I just think it's a shame that it's shouldn't be one channel to pump one thing and one channel to pump another thing. Just have that visibility elsewhere. Anyway, Instagram. We're going to go on to Instagram now. A couple of really good ones from Instagram, and then we'll wrap up. So Andre Hausch, Dre, messaged me. He sent me a PM. And I don't know. Do you remember that time that Trump was tweeting? I'm sorry to bring up his name.
I blocked all that out.
But he was tweeting, and he clearly was writing something, and then he said the word "covfef," and then he clearly the tweet ended, and everyone reckoned did he fall asleep while he was typing? Did he? It wasn't for hours later when he woke up or something like that, and it just became an instant thing. So Dre was PMing me, said, "You know what I want to know, but no one will answer me." That's all he said. I'm still waiting. So I don't know what you want to know, but no one will answer you, Dre, because you never told me.
Amazing.
Unless it's some sort of psychic thing, unless there's a joke there I'm missing. I don't know. Maybe it's funny. But anyway, Dre, if you fell asleep during that, I half expected your next word to be "covfef." So in reply, Bryce Fife, who's on Instagram. I don't know if that's his actual name or just his handle. How's the collecting changed for each of you since the boom in collecting? We've talked about this a number of times. I mean, I've downsized massively because I can't keep up with everything that's going on. And I'm kind of focusing on a much happier, more attainable way of doing things, although the recent parallels have kind of buggered that for me. But I'm just kind of going with what makes me happy now, rather than trying to buy lots.
Same. I love that. I mean, I've always, honestly, it's never, truthfully, I've always collected Surfer. There are things that were very interesting to me, like the preliminary art set from MM18. I just love that whole concept. And I know they did it for something called Artist Drafts. The Rittenhouse set. They did those. And there's other things that I've seen and stuff like that. But
something about the Bianchi one was just...
It's just, I just really loved seeing the thought process in his work. And I'm just a fan of it. It's just a bias.
But his line work was incredible.
It's just great. And I collected that whole set. I plus got the redemption card with the art. And I felt like I can complete that, and I felt really good, and I really enjoyed that. And I think that set, the Marvel Legends set for the toys, Marvel Legends series 1, 2, 3, and 4. I love that set. I did that whole thing complete, the holograms in the base. which I just love that. That was just so much fun. Surfer was in it. It was in GameStop, but I was talking to Richard and Brian and everybody, and it was just a fun time.
And it was fairly affordable as well.
It was fun. It was, it was a little hassle because GameStop, was a little bit of a nightmare here and there, but like there were enough people in the hobby where I was lucky enough to get some sets and help people out, and they helped me out. It was just really fun. But I've been collecting the Surfer since the beginning, and because he's been banned, I've just been slowly but surely like getting all the cards that I just really love in very good condition, because the cards are special to me. Like at one point, so I guess this is to answer the question, maybe it was a little bit better, was the boom happened. Everything was getting stupid expensive. People were selling the collections, asking me to help sell the collections. We've had questions. We've been swamped by all this stuff. And I think I looked at my collection and I was like, okay, I'm going to pick out what's the most important thing to me. I'm going to buy it on the cheap now and get it to the highest grade or the highest quality, whether I decide to grade it or not, or, sketches. And that's the stuff I'm going to just take time on. Stuff that's going to cost me a lot of money. But while everyone's losing their mind and everyone's, oh, this is expensive, maybe I'll think about selling now. That's the people I hit up. I was like, hey, you've never thought about selling. Look how crazy everything is. What are you thinking? And then I would sell something that people wanted because they lost their minds on. Yep. I'd sell it for that price and then take that money and put it right into something I've been wanting for like 5+ years.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's exactly what I did.
That's exactly what you did.
Well, I trimmed, I trimmed it down massively, and I went in for, it paid for last year's. I've lost a year. This year's vacation. Only 3 months ago.
That's right.
But it cleared the debt that I had. Paid for the vacation, and it meant that I could acquire a heck of a lot of the Star Trek autos that I was after.
That's awesome.
And things like that. And I've kind of, the frustrating thing is I've kind of run out of gas at the moment because the economy's just gone. So I haven't actually finished that, just that journey. But it's there's stuff that I really value now that I know I want to go after because I know I'll like it and I know I'll want it for the right reasons. So, for example, very recently I just saw a lot of Game of Thrones cards, auto cards. Now, I know that's a very, very deep hole to go into, a very deep hole, because being Rittenhouse, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of auto cards.
Like hardcore collectors of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't give a monkeys about having an Amelia Clark auto, but I saw this lot and it was about, I don't know, maybe about 12 autos, and it was $75. That included shipping. And I was like, you know what? And I had it lying around. I was like, you know what? I'll have that. Because in the lot were Finn Jones, who went on to become Iron Fist. There was Roger Allam, who's a major UK theatre and TV actor who's been in movies as well. He was in like Viva Vendetta, for example. He also does the voice of the narrator from a show my kid watches called Sarah and Duck. He does the narration from that as well. And it's like, there's an auto from him from Game of Thrones. And there's the guy who was subsequently cast as Elrond in Rings of Power. When he was in Game of Thrones, and about, loads of other English character actors. And it was $75. And I was like, you know what? Even if this is the beginning and end of my Game of Thrones auto collection, I've got some really, some actors that I really rate.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely happy with that. And that's
awesome.
I'm going to keep hold of those, and they're beautiful cards. But I don't feel, much as I'd like to acquire more Game of Thrones autos, I'm not going to do it just for the sake of doing it. So I've looked into it this week, and I'm like, I just can't afford it. So it's fine.
No, and that's and like it's unfortunate, but that's just the future, right? It's just like you really have to be honest with yourself. It's not casual anymore. Like collecting requires a little more. Yeah. Finesse and concentration. Yeah. It's not a casual thing, and I think that's the aggression for a lot of people, so it makes sense.
Last question, I think, because almost questioned out, even though we've maybe got two that we didn't get to, but we will put a pin in those. The Infinite Collector. Why do I feel like I know that person? Who is that?
You do know that person. That is
who is the Infinite Collector? What is the Infinite Collector's real name and social security number, please, no one? Look that up for me right now.
I feel like we know that. I know this person, don't I?
It's not Isidore, is it? It's not Izzy asking a question under a different channel.
Maybe it is Izzy.
Is that him? So he's asked us questions on different channels. What new sets are you guys looking forward to the most? Even if the price is crazy and you had to really save for it in advance. Also, what if boxes keep coming out at $600? Would each of you keep going or be content with what you collected over the years? On the latter part, I'd be content with what I collected over the years and go after other stuff. That's already happening. But what new sets are you guys looking forward to the most, even if the price is crazy and you really had to save for in advance? It's got to be masterpieces. Starts and stops for me with masterpieces. I think.
I like masterpieces a lot. I don't know if
obviously, I don't know who the artist is, but
see, that's where it gets me. Like, I have to know the artist.
But I am looking forward to it. I mean, what are you most looking forward to? It's got to be that. Even though I've seen images of other sets, a Fleer Ultra Avengers, I like that it's coming. I'm kind of looking forward to it, but I'm not going to wade into that set because with the economy and with the price of cards now, I can no longer wade into every set like I used to. So yeah, I think masterpieces is, if I was to pare everything back, it's the one thing I'd carry on going for each time it came out.
I'm so picky. It's really tough. I'm really picky on artists. So it depends on the artist. But I don't think I would
need to know, wouldn't you?
I just, because I'm not a set collector.
Yeah, exactly.
I love seeing the cards, but it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, I'm happy I saw the picture. I'm happy I seen the card. I've experienced it. Do I need it in hand to look at it every once in a while? It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
To do that. So I probably wouldn't, even if it had Surfer in it, I probably wouldn't collect the whole set. Like, for some weird reason, and I don't think this should be an expensive set, obviously, because it's going to be a massive set, and I don't know how well it's going to do. And I'm not saying I'm excited about it because of anything, but I was recently looking at the inserts from the original beginnings.
Yes.
Like the micro motions and all that kind of stuff. And I was kind of like, man, these are really cool. Like the holograms, the Marvel Now, you know what I mean? Like there's like, I'm excited for like a cool insert. Does that make sense?
No, that is absolutely cool. Yeah. Absolutely makes sense.
So like beginnings, I hope they do some like weird kind of cool inserts, because I've seen the Fleer Ultra inserts and they're nice, but they're more high end. So I'm not going to like partake, but I'd like to see what creative things they do for the new inserts for beginnings. I guess that's where I'm at. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, funny enough, you mentioning that, I am going to squeeze in one more question because Dave Marley asked this, and I have a feeling we're going to expand on this on another episode because I don't think we're going to nail it now. But he asked, are there any technical or design innovations from other mediums, print or digital, that you'd like to see imported into Marvel cards? The inclusion of platinum portraits into the recent metal sets is an example of a design choice that I think made the crossover from sports nicely. Apart from maybe the art selection. You guys have mentioned adding actual design on the back of printing plates before from Star Wars, and I've seen people, maybe you, float the idea of a Virgin variant for masterpieces, i.e. where the front of the card is just the painting. Thanks for taking my call. I'll hang up and listen. Dave Marley, bless him.
I love it.
Technical or design innovations from other mediums. I need to think about that some more. So this is why I wanted to pump that to another episode. But yeah, and that's the thing. I'm curious to see. What I loved about Masterpieces 18 was that it introduced the preliminary art, and that hadn't been done before on a Masterpieces set. And I think for that particular artist, it worked exceptionally well. Yeah. I think I like that on Masterpieces 20, they added something else, which was the metallurgy, which are gorgeous. And I love the quality of them. I think I might actually love the metallurgy more than the physical experience of having the actual card. I know that sounds crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, because they just feel so nice. Seriously, I'm going after the Planet Metal, just the base ones, not the numbered ones.
That's cool.
From Spider-Man Metal Universe, because I just love the way they are, and I loved the Master of Magnetism ones from Fleer Ultra X-Men 2018.
Those are great.
I sold
Those
them.
are really nice. Underrated.
But it give me a set that's all those. 45 cards, 36 cards, something like that. Give me a set that's all those. In fact, mash up the metallurgy with something like Decades. Do you see what I mean? Start doing some of those.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
I think what I'm saying is start doing some of the design choices, but doing them in a different physical format. Start playing around with that a little bit more. Would be good.
You know what I'd like to see because I'm a 90s kid. But so those posters from the 70s with the Marvel stuff where they have blacklight and it's the Jack Kirby stuff and they're blacklight or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
There's a bunch of them. There's a Doctor Strange, there's a Namor, there's a Surfer. I'll show it to you. I don't have anything nearby.
I see my head goes to the Ghost Rider glow in the dark cards, but I know that's not what you're talking about.
No, it's really colorful and weird. It's from the 70s. There was like a series of these really psychedelic looking posters.
Oh, yes. I know the ones you mean. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I like to see an insert set like that, because I was looking at Silver Age recently and looking at the Jack Kirby cards, the tribute to Jack Kirby there, and like they have some really cool art that you just don't see, like really interesting and weird. I like to see something like that, but with like a glow in the dark effect, or like a layered, like a suspension animation type of thing, something to make it really look complex and interesting. I like to see something like that as an insert set would be kind of cool. Like, I don't know, I haven't seen a lot of glow in the dark type of stuff.
Scratch and Sniff needs to make a comeback.
Oh, Punisher, Guns and Smoke. That was good.
Punisher.
That was cool, man.
Is that the only set that had that?
I don't know.
I think it might be the only Marvel set that's had that. I mean, if anyone, seriously, answers on a postcard, folks. If you know of another set that's done a smell thing, apart from maybe if it's been in your shoe bag for too long, but
that would be cool.
But glow in the dark, obviously that was Ghost Rider set 2 from Comic Images.
Yeah,
Comic Images. Some people maybe don't remember them that well, but they tried some pretty good stuff considering the technology they had to work with.
It feels like they had fun.
They tried to make it more interesting than what they had.
For sure.
Because otherwise, all they were doing was reproducing images from somewhere else. It wasn't until Marvel 100%. Universe that they started making proper stuff. But yeah, I'm just trying to think. I mean, listen, I'll think of something while I'm on the toilet on Wednesday morning, and then I'll jot it down because that'll be the same. But the Virgin variant, I love that idea, which is one of the reasons why I like the preliminary so much. Because apart from I think it was the Marvel Masterpieces logo, there's nothing else on the front of the card.
Not really. No, I don't even think there's a name for each character on the front of the card.
And mercifully, I don't even think the Upper Deck logo is on the front.
No, I think it's on the back,
which is cool. Because
I have to look again.
Sometimes that needs to not be on the front.
That would be cool. That would be cool. Yeah, I don't know. I like to see something weird. You know what I mean? Like looking back through the collection, like I don't know. I like to see something weird. You know what I mean?
Just
surprise
not
me. Like the retro stuff was great.
Yeah.
Like that was fun.
Just not wooden cards again.
I don't mind wooden cards, but you can't tell me to stack a card into a totem.
Well, like no, that's the thing. That wasn't actually made of wood. That's the thing.
Oh, that's right.
But
that's
No
right.
Boys Allowed, I think it was, from Marvel Gems.
You're right. From
that actually had wood in it, and it's just
that actually had wood in it. That was a little weird.
That was
they do some wood cards with Star Wars, right? Like that's an insert, the wood insert, and they have autos on them and stuff.
I wouldn't be at all surprised. I tell you what I do.
There is.
Right. Sets that I'm going back to the sets that you're really looking forward to. There's a set that's just come out and it's not Marvel. Sorry, not sorry. The new Middle Earth set from CZX, Cryptozoic. It's just broken this week and it's been a long time coming. It's been delayed and it's just I was looking at some of the cards. I just want a base set and the film sales and I'm happy. The film sales look gorgeous.
Film sales are nice. They have that gold foil on them. They're really. I mean,
so do the base.
On that
I've got some of the promos, and they're just beautiful. They feel Black Diamond-y. They're on the Black Diamond spectrum. They're that cool. High end, but the collation on them has been ghastly. I feel
so bad for collectors.
Oh, I think it was Matt. Matt was one of them that had the short end because he bought loads of cases. But you had, I think he was so upset he had to stop his YouTube feed after
I don't blame him.
Case.
He had a case privately, and every sketch was the same character.
That's the thing, and that's what. So whatever decision has been made, whoever's been let out of the back house to collate on that product has just done the worst job whatever because they've put characters together in terms of sketches in the case. They've put I think was it artists has also been grouped together.
Yeah, there was some weird stuff. It was
there was some
awful.
bizarre stuff.
It was
It's just
awful.
really and people are really upset about it. I mean, rightly
they
so.
should be. Rightfully so. They've been waiting over 2 years for that, and that's what happens.
I know. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. But apart from that,
the set's beautiful. It looks great.
It looks amazing, and people seem to be really enjoying it. And I think there's enough of a community there that they are now like swapping between themselves to get over.
Hopefully they fix it. They should fix it.
But really. I'm not as in touch with it to know if Cryptozoic have said anything publicly about it. But I know they've had some very, very strong feedback on it.
I've only been talking about it.
You know, in terms of sets that they're looking forward to, outside of masterpieces from Marvel, I'm always looking forward to the autos on your MCU sets.
Jesus, Hollow Ink 2. It gets here in a week or so.
Oh, yeah, I missed that
freaking psyched.
I missed
Perma
it.
Studios.
I keep forgetting
Hollow
when they
Ink,
go on
I'll
sale.
give you one of my base sets.
Mate, I'd love one. Yeah.
Unless Donnie gets you can have 2. I don't care.
Well, to be honest with you, Donnie will be getting some as well. I mean, Tony and Lane hooked me up last time, and I don't expect them to do that. Obviously, because I'm not after handouts, but they hooked me up last time when I missed it because I just for some reason I think is it a Saturday they go on sale or a Sunday? I can't remember.
It was when I was at New York Comic Con.
So whatever day it is, it's just always sometime around dinner time.
Busy day
for the family. So I always miss it.
Good. No, it looks so good. I have some extra base sets, so if anybody wants one, I'll just send it to you. You don't have to pay.
But I know people buy. I think that people can buy up to 10 sets, and you get a sketch with each set. And the set is small, isn't it? It's like 15, 20, 18 cards or whatever it is. But the thing is, I unlike most people who go after those sets that I'm aware of. I mean, there might be some people like me out there who go for the Perna sets. I just go for it for the base and the chase.
I collected all the Halloween horror ones.
Yeah.
I love it.
Some people just buy it for the sketches.
The sketches, and I get that because
which is great. They are amazing. They're top end, because it's a set done by artists for artists.
Yes. Yep. Like it's really
you can feel the love,
high quality.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's the DNA. There's the love.
Yes. They just understand what they're doing, and they're fans of cards. They're fan of sketch cards, and that's the thing that's so crazy is like they understand why a sketch card is important or historically interesting, or what the artist can do within that medium. Yeah. Like it's just, I caught it late. You've told me about it for years, and I just didn't have the money or the brainwave, you know what I mean? The bandwidth to get there. Because I was doing Surfer so hard, but I went backlogging on that. I have like Halloween 1 through 4. I got the creatures. I got the Hollow Ink. Like I'm doing all their creepy ones. I'm not doing the fairy tale stuff or the monster or the other thing. I wish. I just can't. In my head, I have to be really specific. So I'm just filling up that Halloween binder.
Yeah.
But I have to hit them up. I'm sure it's going to start shipping out.
Oh, I'm sure they will. Listen, I mean, I give all the latitude in the world on that, and so does everyone else. And I've seen things where Elaine or Tony have posted and said, it's not fair of someone to be, because I think it was on the set before where one of them posted and said, we understand that people are disappointed, but to swear at Elaine on email because you missed the set.
Who would do that?
Who would do? It's just like, and everyone was going name and shame, and they were like, they shouldn't. But honestly, whoever that person is,
get them out of there.
It's like because
the people who collect that set,
don't be like
that set sells out. Within a couple hours, not even
rightfully so, and they handle it in a really fair way, and it's not that I didn't know it was coming up. So, if I missed it, it's on me. If it's oversubscribed, it's just the luck of the draw. It's whatever it will be. But it goes back to Paul's question about patience. Just be patient.
You'll find it. It comes up.
You'll get it.
These things take time.
You'll get it.
You'll take it. Yeah.
I'm still missing some chase cards from the earlier sets, and maybe at least one base set. I'll get them sooner or later. I'm not in a rush.
It happens.
And Tony and Lane have been more than supportive and generous to us with both that and their stuff. So
so great.
Hats off to them. I'm just gonna leave the final word for this episode to Tony. Radish.
Radish. Enjoy collecting your radishes, people.
I thought you were going to say enjoy radishes. Enjoy radishes.
I should say that. Yeah. Let's do it again. Let's do it. Enjoy radishes.
Radish collecting. Thanks for listening to the Marvel Card Collectors podcast. Visuals and tasting notes for each episode can be found on our Facebook page. You can subscribe and leave us a voicemail via our home on anchor.fm/MCCP. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Please take a second to subscribe, like, and review our show wherever you get your podcasts. Our podcast can be found by Googling @the MCC Pod, which will also find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Our Facebook community is at MCCW, Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide, and MMC, Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. The great music we use is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. Thanks to the collectors, artists, and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, it's a small hobby but a fun one. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.